I'm going to talk about the federal government should regulate the cost of pharmaceutical companies. So my position here is oppositions. Okay, so here is my outline. So I'm going to talk about why the federal government wants to regulate the cost of pharmaceuticals. So where are the new drugs coming from? And then what is the US laws for the drug development? And then US Food and Drug Administrations. And then I'm going to conclude with my conclusions, and then I'm going to give my references. Okay, so why the federal government wants to regulate the cost of pharmaceuticals? So the regulations of costs for pharmaceuticals advocates argue that curtailing profits in the pharmaceutical industry will save the country money without reducing innovation. So some people argue that it's so high for drug price, so the government should regulate the cost for the pharmaceutical companies. And then for the second things is that the federal government assumes that the pharmaceutical companies charge the higher prices for the consumers. Here is the patients. So with the regulations of costs for pharmaceuticals, so they are not willing to invest in research and development. So this calls to research that fewer drugs are discovered, developed, and marketed. And there is less competition in the market and less overall pricing pressures and higher drug prices. So since if there is a regulations for the pharmaceuticals, then they are not willing to invest their monies to the research and development. Then it causes less competitions each others. Okay, so where are the new drugs coming from? So I look at the paper which is published in 2011 by Milken Institute, the Global Biomedicals Industry, Preserving U.S. Leadership. So this is the figure from this paper. So where are the new drugs coming from? So as you can see here, about 57% of the new drugs are coming from US. And then followed by Switzerland 13% and Japan 9%, something like that. So as you can see, more than half of the new drugs are coming from US. So I wonder why US has such a high advantage of developing new drug in this country. So leading role of the US for new drug development. So the United States leads the world innovative drug development and benefiting patients and caregivers around the globe by ensuring access to new cures and treatments for a range of diseases. Okay, and then many factors are contributing to lead drug development, such as outstanding scientists, a committed investment community, world-class university and research institutions. However, all these factors also exist in other countries as well. Then why US has a capacity of more than 50% of the new drug development here? The unique things about the United States is that they have a function of comparative free market system for the drug development. So as a result of competitive and free market system, so the pharmaceutical companies wants to invest their money to the new drug developments, especially for the US, since this is a free market system. So everybody can enter these drug developments. Okay, there is another factor we need to consider for the pharmaceutical drug price, which is the U.S. Food and Drug Administrations, which is FDA. So the FDA contributes to high drug prices as well, which is written in the paper of 2016 by Charles. Okay, so drug development costs driven higher by increasing stringent FDA regulations, reduce competitions, and ultimately leads to higher prices for consumers. Okay, so what this paper argue is that um, the very strict regulations from the FDA regulations. So this caused the higher price for the consumers. Okay, so many healthcare policy proposals neglect the FDA's role in driving up those prices. So which means, so if you look at the other policy papers, so they are talking about the pharmaceutical company. They are charged high prices for the patient's drug. However, this paper mentions that FDA is the role of the driving of those high prices. Okay, so the biggest driver of high drug prices are higher clinical trial costs, especially phase 3 efficacy trials, along with a lower probability that the new drug will be approved by the FDA. So as we know, so when we have a new drug in our market, so it needs to passing through all the phase 1 to 3, right? However, when they pass phase 1 and 2, then phase 3 are really difficult to pass since FDA has a very stringent regulations over there. So if they if the pharmaceutical company cannot pass this phase 3, so then they're just wasting all of their investment. Okay, so in these arguments of opposing that the federal government should regulate the pharmaceuticals, I want to conclude my arguments with the federal government imposed price control in the largest market of the world would seriously harm investment in the next generation of medical breakthrough. Okay, the economists Joseph Golek and John Vernon estimate that if the United States had adopted European-style price control on pharmaceutical drugs from 1986 to 2004, it would have produced 117 fewer medicine compounds. Okay. So if this estimation is correct, then as we look at our figure in the beginning, so more than 50% of the new drugs coming from US, so which is this number is going to be smaller than our number in the paper. So if the federal government is concerned about high drug prices due to the cost of drug development in the pharmaceutical company, then the federal government should work together with FDA to approve faster for the new drug development, safely and effectively. Okay. Lastly, so modernize the drug development process to ensure the company can develop safe and effective medicine for FDA approval faster and at less cost than is currently available. Okay. So this is my references. Okay. Thank you very much.